I'm so sorry, Shelley. That's
Over
totally my bad.
12 minutes and I'm gonna have to get off because I've got press calling me.
No problem. Um, so 10 years, that journey took 10 years, then you were still working with them for five, and then you immediately went to female quotient, or about immediately, right?
While I was at Ipsos, I
Yes.
started Girls Lounge. So I was still at Ipsos when I created the Ipsos Girls Lounge.
Yes.
And it was an accident again. It wasn't intentional. I just decided I wanted to go to CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. I was so used to being one of few women at big tech conferences because I was, in technology. And so I invited a few girlfriends to attend and said, will you go with me? It was 150,000 people at the time, less than 3% were women. And 24 hours later, 50 women showed up and walked the floor.
Wow.
And that's really how the Girls Lounge started. But I was still at Ipsos. And so when my 5 year anniversary came up at Ipsos, of course, they wanted me to renew my contract running global innovation around the globe, which I was happy to do. But I said that I need them to put in that they will continue to support the Girls Lounge because we'd already done
Yeah.
like three lounges and I knew that's where my heart was and I
Yeah.
loved it. And I wanted it in writing in my contract because it wasn't that expensive at the time because it was small, but I mean, it was probably costing 150, 200,000, $250,000 at the time.
Hmm.
Had done three lounges and it was called Ipsos Girls Lounge. So their brand was on it. They
Hmm.
got a halo effect from it. But behind my back, once again, a lot of guys, there was only two women on the board of 25 publicly traded company. I would hear rumors that they would mimic it. Like, oh, well, if Sis can have a girls' lounge, then we need to have a man cave and bullshit like that. And I was also told there was no room for emotion in the boardroom. And, your head says, okay, your heart says, what are you going to do? And so when I was pulled aside and told that, I gave a speech to thousands. And it was called Bring Emotion to the Boardroom, exclamation point, heart, heart, heart. And once again, transforming perception of what leadership is and can be, and that the feminine collaboration and passion and compassion and empathy and all of those things were not soft skills, but they were the most important, in my opinion, and critical skills of leadership.
Hmm. Hmm.
So my contract comes back and it had a great package for me, but there was no girls' lounge in it. And I'm like, what happened to the girls' lounge? And they said, well, we are interested and we want to commit, but we can't put it in writing. I said, then you're not committed. And it's when I talk about a pledge, you can tell me something, but
Yeah.
if you're not willing to activate the change with
Yeah.
intentionality, a
You're out.
pledge is meaningless. You can say what you're going to do all you want. Show me the money. And that moment was another heartbeat moment for me where I just looked at the chairman, CEO, who's still a really good friend of mine. And I said, Didier, I said, I'm grateful for 5 years, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to renew this contract. I'm not resigning because I gave my 5 years. I said, but I'm not renewing. I'm going to take the girls lounge with me because it
Hmm.
obviously is not important enough to you.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll take $500,000 with me. And Ipsos can be a partner then for 2 years. And that's how I built the whole model in 1 second flat. And
Wow.
I inherited a huge overhead at that time. I committed to investing myself, knowing that I'm not going to wait and watch for, people to give me funding because I didn't think people believed in it, including me. I had no idea how big it was going to get. And I left. And the next day I started the Girls Lounge. And I put it under TFQ Ventures, which one day I knew would stand for the female quotient, but I knew I was going to have to stay in research to help make the money to pay the bills for the Girls Lounge. And so I kind of put the Girls Lounge under um,
TF.
TFQ Ventures.
Yeah.
So part of it was the Girls Lounge and part of it was a research consulting business. And then as soon as I had enough funding to really stop doing two jobs. I then went fully to Girls Lounge under the female quotient. Um, and that was that.
Wow.
That was in 2010,
2010. That was in 2010, 2000. Wow.
2010, yeah.
Wow. Wow. And so what were my last I'm going to ask you my last question, and then I have a few just rapid fire questions that you're supposed to answer in one sentence or one word or less. What were some of the lessons that you learned while building the female quotient and that has allowed it to get to where it is today? I know it's a very broad question, but
One, which was, I call it a whoosh moment. It was just the most incredible moment when, all these women coming together. I call it power of the pack. A woman alone is power. Collectively, we have impact. The power of the collective. It is transformative.
Mhm.
You can have a big idea, but it's not going to be sticky if you don't get everyone to follow quickly.
Yeah,
And the only way you make that happen is by bringing everyone to the table
together.
together.
Yeah.
And in 1 second, if you're all going, you go. And today we're over 7 million women
Yes.
across 30 industries in 100 countries, and that's all organic. And it's because we share a common value, and that is truly when purpose meets passion, you're unstoppable, and we all are. And it's become a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Um, After I connected over 6 million women, I then evolved from Girls Lounge to Equality Lounge, the place for conscious leaders. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, if you're in a position of power, use that to elevate everyone. And what was very clear to me was it's not just power of the pack, but we were not in the business of DE&I. We were not in the business of women. I was truly in the business of transformation,
Yeah.
creating the changes that we all need to see so that we can all thrive. And it really is about equal opportunity
Yeah.
for all of us to be seen, to be heard, and to rise. And, that was just really important to me. And so, the other lesson I learned was really a no regret policy. I never want to look back and say shoulda, woulda, coulda. Don't miss the moments that matter, and don't miss, no one's gonna remember the meeting that you weren't at or the business trip they didn't take, but the people important in your life will always remember that. And so I built in my company just the uncorporate rules. I broke all the rules that made no sense and created the new ones. And I built them on what I needed as a primary caregiver. And I figured if it worked for the collective minority, it would certainly work for the current majority. And those were really important lessons along the way. And most importantly, to be me with no apologies. Sorry, not sorry. Oscar Wilde says, be yourself because everyone else is taken. And Sarah Jessica Parker says, trying to be a man is a waste of a woman. We
Yeah.
need men, we need women. We need the masculine and the feminine in the workplace
Yeah.
to truly create the energy
Energy.
force
Yeah.
necessary to create the best companies. And that's where
Absolutely.
culture comes from, when
Yeah.
you hire for passion and train for skill.
Hire for passion, train for skill. I love that, Shelley. Two questions
Unless
that, yeah.
unless you want to be a doctor, lawyer, or an accountant.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need a little more skill.
That different story. What is the worst piece of advice and the best piece of advice you would ever give or that you've received?
Follow the leader, worst advice.
Uh-huh.
That's status quo.
Love
So
it.
don't follow the leader, follow your
Don't follow the
heart.
leader. Yeah. Worst best piece of advice.
What's the next? Be yourself and own it. And so many of us have that imposter syndrome. Just shut that bitch up in your head and be
Yeah.
who you are.
Yeah.
Because that's what diversification of mindset is.
Yeah.
We need that at the table. If we were all the same, we would be unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah. What is one rule you love to break?
That one rule that you need to fail to succeed. I say you need to take a risk, and how much risk are you willing to take?
Take.
So that word failure already puts you in gloom and doom
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah.
So
Agree.
be willing to take risk.
What is one rule that if you had to implement like a law that everyone had to follow, you would implement?
Life stage accommodation. It's you got one life. There's no such thing as balance. Get rid of the word balance in your vocabulary. Put integration in instead. You have one life with 5 dimensions: your career, your family, your community, your girlfriends, your friends, and the last one that we neglect is ourselves. At different stages of life, it's not 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20
Yeah.
pie. different slices of the pie. You need to modify accordingly at every life stage. Um, and and don't worry about it. It'll work
Yeah,
itself out.
it's gonna work out. Last question for you. If you had to give some advice to your 16, 18, 20-year-old self, what would it be?
Um, don't miss the moments that matter.
Yeah, I love it. Shelley,
And
thank you
you'll
so
still
much. Yeah.
succeed,
Yeah.
you know? And and I think also there's magic in the collective. Like I have it was so unfortunate that my whole career I didn't have girlfriends in business.
Yeah.
And why? Like it
What?
was just so
I
dumb. We were
know.
following some kind of invisible rule book,
Yeah.
a rule book that didn't exist.
No.
People were sneaking out to pick up their kids at soccer or take them to the doctor. Why? Or to
Mm,
not put the pictures of their families up. Why?
why?
There is no handbook that says you can't do that, but it's the perception. But the
Yeah.
perception is not the reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't ghost yourself. Like,
Yeah. 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 Also, the whole, if I have a slice of the pie, the other person has to have a smaller one. There's not enough to go around mentality as well, I feel like is very pervasive still.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just don't take it so seriously. It's just not such a big
It's
deal.
not that serious. Yeah. Yeah.
Be the first. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And
What?
embrace your fear. Push
Yeah.
through it.
Push
That's
through it.
called bravery.
For those who want to be the first but don't know how to get there. Sorry, last question. What is something that you'd say to them, or what advice, I guess, would you give them?
It's hard.
Yeah,
Listen, just because you have a good idea doesn't mean you're going to be successful in business.
absolutely.
So, there's lots of steps. Don't shortchange yourself either and just think that, oh, I have this good idea. I'm going to leave a good job and be successful. It
Right.
doesn't quite work that way. There are a lot of different pieces to being successful in business, especially on your own.
Yeah.
So a lot of the younger generation thinks that they can just at 21 years old start their own company and with no experience whatsoever. Like, don't underestimate the power of experience. And I have learned so many lessons along every part of my journey with no regrets. I don't regret a single decision that I made, and the challenges that I had along the way, because it made me stronger, it made me smarter, it propelled me to do the things that I did. So don't think you're just going to be a billionaire overnight and that it happens like that, because it's
Yeah.
not true. Have your hand out for a raise and a promotion, earn it and
Yeah.
be it. So many people
Yeah.
talk about what they're going to
They don't do enough of it.
be it. Don't
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Shelley. Why don't you go ahead and shout out anything and everything that you want to shout out, and then I'll stop recording.
Listen, follow the female quotient,
Of
join a
course.
lounge, participate in Power of the Pack. It's magical. You can't even know. I can tell you what it is, but until you feel the power of the energy force you get, don't listen to me.
Yeah.
Experience it.
Yeah.
That's when the change happens. It really
Yeah.
does. That's where the
Yeah.
transformation happens.
Absolutely. Obviously, everything will be linked, so everyone will be able to just go on down and click everything. So
Okay, fantastic. Okay, well, I'm here